We already know that the world's most famous entertainment city is losing hundreds of thousands of visitors each month. But would you believe it? Casino revenue here is still increasing at record levels. Clearly, that wasn't an accident. Vegas is choosing this path. The collapse of Vegas was likely intentional and more complex than you might think. Today's Las Vegas is no longer built by gamblers and artists. It is controlled by financial corporations, data algorithms, and the strategy of maximizing spending per visitor footstep. The streets that were once filled with laughter are now just a giant laboratory for the virtual city model, where every emotion and every glance is valued in numbers. Perhaps Vegas won't collapse because tourists abandon it, but is voluntarily trading its soul for a future that is bright but soulless. In today's video, we'll show you the previously untold dark side of the city that never sleeps, where the brightest lights are what's hiding a death calculated down to the last penny. Las Vegas has long been known as one of the most talked about cities on the planet, a symbol of light, luxury, and endless stories of ups and downs. But perhaps most of the world has misunderstood the decline they are witnessing. Because in reality, Vegas isn't just declining, it's transforming, in a way that's far more subtle and complex than it appears. Two opposing viewpoints are coexisting. One believes the city has passed its prime and is losing its appeal, while the other insists Vegas has never been stronger. Casino revenue remains at record levels despite a decline in visitors. And perhaps the truth lies somewhere between those two extremes, in the ever-changing intersection. According to travel reports released in August 2025, the number of visitors to Las Vegas decreased by 6.7% compared to the same period last year, which is equivalent to approximately 230,000 fewer visitors. This is also the 8th consecutive month that the city has recorded a decline. Before the pandemic, Vegas averaged around 42 million visitors annually, a figure considered a baseline for the stability of the local tourism industry. After the pandemic, Las Vegas experienced a period of explosive recovery, with months of double-digit growth, leading many to believe the city had truly reborn. However, that momentum didn't last. In 2025, Vegas began to stagnate and shrink, a sign that the city had reached the natural saturation point of its current development model. Visitor capacity, room rates, service costs, everything seems to be reaching a limit that even the dazzling lights of the Strip cannot hide. The problem is, travel costs in Vegas are rising rapidly, while the quality of service isn't keeping up. Room rates, meals, and resort fees are significantly higher than before, making the experience of affordable luxury, once the soul of the city, increasingly out of reach for the middle class. Even as massive projects like the Sphere and new hotel towers are constantly inaugurated in the hope of attracting more tourists, they become a financial trap when visitor numbers decline and operating costs escalate. But the underlying reason isn't just that fewer people are coming, but it's because of how they arrived. Today's tourists spend more strategically, stay for shorter periods, and are more selective. They are no longer going to play, but going to choosing truly worthwhile places, special experiences, and feelings that are worth every penny spent. And it is precisely in that selection that Las Vegas is redefining itself. The city isn't truly declining, but is being deliberately restructured, from a mass destination to a more streamlined, expensive, and exclusive playground for the affluent. The so-called decline that the public sees is only the outer shell of a silent transformation, where Vegas is actively eliminating less profitable customer segments to rebuild a new survival model for the 21st century. A model where the opulent lights still shine brightly, but only for the few. If you only look at the neon lights that still shine brightly every night, few could imagine that within the glamorous machine called Las Vegas, there are unsettling numbers hidden. In August 2025, the hotel room occupancy rate on the Strip was only 77.5%, nearly 4 percentage points lower than the same period the previous year. According to a report by STR, in just 2 months, revenue per available room decreased by 13.8%, while the average nightly room rate fell by 6.6%, a decline that investors are calling a prolonged weakening signal in the accommodation sector. That decline wasn't just reflected in the hotel's numbers. Passenger traffic through Harry Reid Airport decreased by 8.5% compared to the same period last year. While international passenger volume, particularly from Canada and Europe, which were once considered Vegas's gold mines, also decreased by an additional 3.7%. Fewer suitcases appeared on the conveyor belt. Taxi lines waited longer for passengers, and the buffet tables remained lit but silent. To cope, the city was forced to launch its biggest promotional campaign in years, the fabulous 5-day sale at the end of September 2025. Room discounts of up to 50%, free resort fees, and complimentary meals and show tickets. A rescue campaign disguised with marketing hype, but concealing the worry that Las Vegas is devaluing itself to fill empty rooms. However, while tourist numbers are down and planes are empty, casinos are achieving record revenues. Strip gaming revenue in August 2025 reached USD 679 million, and in July it even exceeded USD 749 million, with downtown Las Vegas increasing by 8.3% to USD 63.2 million. A strange paradox: fewer people, but each person spends more. Cash flow is no longer coming from the general public, but is flowing strongly into VIP rooms, high-limit areas, and private gaming tables. A clear demonstration of the shift from a mass market to an elite economy model. Additionally, revenue from local residents and conferences and events is becoming a temporary pressure valve, helping Vegas offset the shortfall from traditional tourists. This is a step within a long-term strategy, not chasing quantity, but maximizing average spending. A form of planned scarcity where the city actively reduces the number of visitors but increases the value of each trip. However, the picture isn't entirely rosy. Basic indicators continue to decline, while the massive September price cuts exposed a paradoxical loop. Vegas wants to maintain its high-end image while also having to clear inventory when demand is weak. Every promotion is a crack in the belief in the city's value model. And it is precisely in this paradox that we see two Vegas coexisting in parallel. One Vegas of dazzling numbers, where casino revenue continues to rise and sports and entertainment events still boom. And another Vegas, where the real numbers show the quiet fatigue of the tourism economy. Las Vegas is entering a period of marked transformation. It is no longer a city of mass resorts, but a stage specifically designed for those willing to pay high. The less people, spend more model has now become the new guideline for the city's development strategy. This is not a temporary response to the tourism downturn, but a deliberate restructuring process where the mass is gradually replaced by the privileged. One of the biggest drivers of this trend is the explosion of short-term, event-driven tourism. Visitors today do not come to Vegas to resort, but to experience an expensive moment. They fly in just to watch a concert night of Beyoncé, Adele, or U2 at the Sphere, or to attend a UFC or boxing match on global television, spending tens of thousands of dollars in just 48 hours. These hit-and-run style rides are redefining the entire Vegas travel ecosystem. It's no coincidence that the city is now called the new sports capital of America. From the Raiders' $2 billion Allegiant Stadium to the Golden Knights' central T-Mobile Arena, all infrastructure is built with the goal of serving the upper class. The Formula One Grand Prix race, held right in the middle of the Strip, has proven that Vegas can become a global stage, despite facing huge costs and mixed reactions from people. And soon, the Oakland A's, team's $1.5 billion baseball field, is built right on the Strip, in part with a public budget, further cementing the city's status as a limited playground. These projects are not designed for the majority. They target high-spending groups, prioritizing filling VIP rooms, skyboxes, and private suites instead of discounts or mass market expansion. It's a sophisticated, guest-picking strategy that ensures a steady stream of revenue, but at the same time pushes the middle class to the fringes. Vegas is trading guest volume for spend value, and it is in that swap that a silent class screening takes place. That change is clearly shown in daily life. The average meal price on the Strip has now surpassed that of New York. A $42 burger, a $10 water bottle, a $30 cocktail. Promotional hotel room, 89 USD discount night actually teamed up to 215 USD after adding resort fee, parking fee, and deposit. Those seemingly small numbers have disfigured the soul of having fun for everyone that Vegas used to boast of. Instead is a playground dedicated to people who can pay the price. But the deeper consequences lie elsewhere. As Vegas puts all its effort into serving the elite group of guests, the locals who built this city from the hot sand desert are excluded from the space they created. The luxury trap is not only changing the way Vegas makes money, but is also cracking the bond between the past and the present, between everyone's city and the city just for some people. A suitcase packed in a hurry. An expensive hotel room was left empty in the middle of the night. In bright lights and giant signs, the stream of people who once carried faith in the American dream is quietly retreating. The middle class, who were once the backbone of the city of Las Vegas, are now being gradually removed from the playground they helped build. The more time passes, the more the curtain reveals. Not only are tourists falling, but also middle-class residents, working families, weekend workers, are limited in their ability to live in Vegas. One study found that in the Las Vegas area, the proportion of middle-class households that switched to lower incomes or lost their mid-status between 1999 and 2017. And as home prices, living costs, and capital movements have skyrocketed, many people have chosen to go elsewhere, either looking to shrink into smaller apartments, work 2 or 3 jobs, or leave the city to find new opportunity. According to a recent article, the average home price in southern Nevada has exceeded about $480,000, a financial burden for many middle-class families. Spacious roofs, busy everyday streets, casual dinners on the sidelines of Strip Mall are all becoming more and more memories. As the middle class retreated, Vegas not only lost customers, but also lost the whole community, lost the normal rhythm of life that connects people with people. The eateries, cinemas, and 2-spouse households with children that make up the identity of the periphery around Strip are gradually shrinking. It is realized that at its current cost, keeping a middle-class life in Vegas is no longer easy. Service industry workers, table cleaners, kitchen assistants, taxi drivers were once a symbol of a middle class in Vegas. But as the cost of living increases, income doesn't keep up. And now the city itself is transforming to serve the higher tier. Those jobs no longer guarantee a middle-class life. Thinking about someone who used to work at a big resort, used to save to buy a house and let their children study, now has to consider moving. Because of rising costs, it's not an isolated scenario, but part of a trend big. It's worth noting, Vegas is not waiting to collapse. It leaves behind a part of itself. As the city redesigns the economic model away from quantity and towards quality, then the middle class becomes the party left behind. A new way out for the city, but also some way in for people to go. And when the community leaves, the individual who stays will feel alone, and the numbers alone in the desert of light. If the city of Vegas only clearly caters to those who can pay big, then do we have any room left for the middle class, dream where you yourself once believed in its future? When you look up at the giant LED panels showing ads every night on the Las Vegas Strip, it seems like everything is still brilliant, still alive. But under that light there exists a very different class of people, living on the sidelines Vegas dream. A class of people are staying, not because they choose, but because they have no way to leave. And their story reflects two parallel worlds, an entertainment paradise and a fading periphery. Those who stay there are sometimes long-time service workers, sometimes suburban residents who have for years chosen Vegas as their home, are struggling with the same reality. Housing has become too expensive, income stagnates, costs skyrocket. In this city area, the ratio of rent to income for tenants has reached about 33.6%. And a new survey shows that less than 20% of people believe Nevada is still an affordable place to live, with only about 16% saying housing in the state is affordable. It's a warning. When the basic cost is no longer relevant, the middle class and working, who were once the core part of the Florida community, start to fall out. At the same time, the number of homeless, people who are more extreme than, is increasing in the Vegas-Clark County metropolitan area. The 2024 point-in-time survey results showed that about 7,906 people were experiencing homelessness, an increase of about 20% over the previous year, and about 36% over the previous 2 years. Among them, a large portion of unsheltered, living on the street, in cars, or makeshift tents, is facing the harsh price of the Nevada desert. Dry sun, cold nights, and few places to escape the night. The stories of those two worlds do not stand alone. As the city optimizes to serve large spending groups and high-end projects, those who once belonged to the normal Vegas are gradually pulled into the middle zone that is no longer truly middle class, but not yet uninhabited. They rent smaller houses, work long overtime hours, or give up their dream of owning a roof. Meanwhile, those who cannot stay lose their jobs, lose their homes. Falls into homelessness, many times just a slide in the shrinking ecosystem. A housekeeping staff at a long-time resort revealed, "I still go to work every day, but now I don't dare to think about buying a house anymore. Costs increase, wages stand still." Meanwhile, another person chose to set up a makeshift tent near the back of Strip. Only a few minutes walk to the casino, but a completely different world. They are right under the billboard for the Vegas dream without ever setting foot in it. If under the bright lights of Las Vegas there are still people struggling to keep their roofs, then do we, as a society, have room for people to stay, and not just luxury, in the future of this city? A spacious floor panel. The flashing lights still flash, but below is free space with fewer people, but the price is higher. It's not free fall, it's a deliberate strategy. In the city of Las Vegas, casino revenue is still increasing sharply despite the decline in visitors. A clear sign of the intentionally scarce model. According to the report, commercial casino revenue in Vegas has increased about 8% this year over the same period, even as the number of visitors has decreased significantly. There are fewer guests, but each person spends more, especially in VIP rooms, high-end tables and limited guest areas, where a few individuals can bring in profits equivalent to a large group in the past. For example, in August 2025, Baccarat revenue on the Strip increased by 51% over the same period last year, while the number of visitors decreased. Meanwhile, tourists for long stays of middle-class families who drive from California or fly cheap, staying a few nights, are gradually losing focus. They are given the playground for these short trips and fast money burning. Meanwhile, the conventions industry still maintains a relatively good number of visitor and casinos serving local residents also maintain revenue. Data shows that Vegas' economic structure is fragmented. One side is prestigious guests, the other is people who stay normally. Emptiness on Strip, empty rooms, discount shows, smaller stages, is becoming a kind of luxury. Less room, higher price, less presence, but still labeled premium. However, after the summer slump, the city was forced to launch massive discount campaigns to fill the vacancies, proving that even if intentional, the less-person model's high price still has limits. For example, room promotions and experience combos used to appear under the name deal socks in order to pull back the discarded middle-class guests. A deficit-based model challenged by sustainability. When the deserted stands are empty, the odd table becomes the product the city sells. Will we still see the real people of Las Vegas? And how long can a deficiency-based model last before it itself runs out? The influx of visitors decreased, costs increased, and the slogan, "Everyone is welcome," is now starting to fade, replaced by the implicit, "Welcome, if you can afford it." Local residents say they feel they are on the outside of the very city they call home. A 2023 survey found that only 52% of the city's residents rated the image of Las Vegas as acceptable, and only 47% felt the city's quality of life met their expectations. The city's future now rests on an intersection. Will Vegas revise the value back to a place where everyone can belong to the, or continue to run in upper-class groups, exploiting maximum profits by opening for very little? This city has repeatedly overcome economic recession, pandemic, real estate crisis. But this time the challenge is deeper. It's trust. It's a sense of fairness. It's a question, is this place for me? For every worker? Every middle-class family? The real power of a city lies not in the whale's million-dollar bets on the baccarat table, but in the people who still want to believe that this place is theirs, where they live, create families, share meals, interact with neighbors. When resort staff, taxi drivers, restaurant maintenance staff, who once saw themselves as part of Vegas, suddenly felt pushed to the sidelines, the identity city of dreams began to wobble. A recent article quotes residents, "I still work here, but no longer feel like I belong here." Even tourism agencies and local authorities are paying attention to the voices of the people staying. For example, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority launched the Locals Unlocked campaign to encourage locals to explore the city as a sign that they are aware that the city is losing connection with its own residents. Large corporations like Caesars Entertainment can lead by launching the Belonging Matters program in an effort to reinvest in the community, from building affordable housing, supporting employees and locals to participate in tourism economy. Come create opportunities for workers to become small owners and an active part of Vegas. A city cannot just sell the experience, but needs to sell the feeling of belonging. Can Las Vegas be reborn when its hearts, the people themselves and the middle class, no longer believe in that dream? And if its collapse is intentional, then who will write the revival? Las Vegas is still brilliant, but if you look closer, you'll see a fine crack spreading across the desert, where the light is no longer enough to heat up, just to cover the growing dark areas. The city that once symbolized the American dream now stands at a crossroads, reborn from the inside, or continuing to repeat its own spiral, is brighter, more expensive, but emptier. Vegas' future is not in record revenue tables or billion-dollar stadiums, but in the hearts of people who still believe they belong here. When that trust is restored, Vegas will not need to collapse to be reborn. It just needs to learn to remember who it is. Can a city survive if its hearts, ordinary people, no longer believe they belong there? And if Vegas is really dying on purpose, who will be brave enough to write the next chapter of that rebirth? If you feel anything from this story, please leave your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to click, like, share this video with people who have believed in the American dream like you. And please subscribe to join us in continuing to explore the untold hidden corners where the light and darkness of America intersect. The content in this video is built for the purpose of analyzing, discover, evokes social reflection, not affirming or attributing any individual, organization, or government. All figures and information are compiled from public sources, official reports, or reputable media at the time of compilation. The video is not intended to incite, criticize, or promote any extremist views, but wishes to create a multi-dimensional dialogue space about the change of a historical, economic, cultural symbol like Las Vegas. All content reflects only an independent, academic, and journalistic analytical perspective, is not investment, political, or legal advice. Viewers are encouraged to verify information and draw their own conclusions based on personal opinions.